This conference will now be
Uh,
recorded.
so very interesting. I mean, by far, very interesting morning that we had. Another one that just, some really great trades that came in from a lot of stuff that we had, and not as many as we would have thought. And we're going to talk about IGC. We're going to talk about NBEV in a second. Those are oh, one of them's on my list. The other one is not yet on there. But let's talk about VTVT. So coming down to this four level, I mean, it was just it was black and white, and there's certain things out there. Remember what we talked about yesterday in Traders Exchange is there's certain trades that are out there that don't show us exactly what's going to happen or have things that have to happen to them. For instance, IGC pulling under 9, and we're gonna pull that up in a second. And there's the long trade coming into it is not going to be as easy as we would like. And coming back up above where those prints are at 14, it still has to follow the prints. But VTVT told us at that 4 level that we were going to have to end up pulling back and that we were going to get a trigger that came back in. And if we look right here, I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. It held the trigger, came back up, and this thing went up to 6. You're talking about a $2 trade from when we saw it at $4 at a $4 stock. Okay, for a stock, $4 stock to move up $2. Guess what? Did I know it was going to move up $2? Nope, had no idea. Okay, there's no indicator in the world that I could ever put out there that we would have known where that it was going to move $2. But guess what? As it started moving, it showed us that perfectly. And we do have prints sitting up at that 6 level. So right now, what we're looking at, and this is going to be on our, 100% on our afternoon list, it's still holding. And when I say holding, okay, a consolidation, this, even though we're up and down, a substantial amount, it's still holding within this consolidation. So it has every opportunity in the world for us to get a push coming into the close and break up above that 6 level. So that's the number one thing on my list by far. Let's talk about IGC. Okay, IGC, once again, no matter what, the stock is going to have to come back, and it's gonna have to come back to reality. Right now, I don't see anything here that I personally care about. Okay, there's nothing that I can do with this stock. I can't short it, unfortunately. Okay, actually there's certain points I was able to get shares for, to be able to short it, but unfortunately can't do anything with it right now. Okay, it needs to pull underneath 9 and 850. That's great. The 50 cents that it moved from, but you know what? At the same time, at that 9 level, we had so much buying that came into this thing, that it says it wants to pull back. Stocks do not do this. Okay, and when I say they don't do this, of course they do, because you can see it as it's happening. But if we look at this daily chart and a stock going straight up, it has to come back to reality, and we need a benchmark. Okay, a benchmark is one of the biggest things that show us that nothing can just keep going. Could this go to 300? Of course it could. But at some point, we need to pull back underneath that 9 from the huge amount of buying that we had previously. And yes, it did come down to 850 this morning. And guess what? It was a beautiful trade coming back up. But at the same time, an overall trade, for me to be comfortable for this going above 14, okay, and yes, we hit 15, our price target, and it's done. Overall, if you would look at it that way, but the amount of buying that we saw coming back into this, I don't think it's done. I think there's definitely more room for it to come back up. It's just in reality, we need to see a big move back down towards that downside, and the pattern that we see coming into there shows us that 850 is not going to be going to be able to hold very well. Now, NBEV, this is a great one because it finally stopped trading with IGC, and you can see that when it comes into the charts. But 850, we have a lot of buying there. 8, we have a huge amount of buying there. There's more room for this thing to go up today as well. Okay, so that 850, we know there's great prints, a trigger towards the upside in this thing, and it's holding within this consolidation on that uptrend. Okay, this is IGC. I'm not putting on my list today. Okay, for my afternoon list is not going to be there because of the fact there's too much room towards that downside that I know needs to happen. NBEV doesn't have that same problem. NBEV, we know there's great buying at 8. We knew that. We knew it had to go above 8, but there's also great buying at 850, and this thing needs to go higher. So they're not following each other exactly anymore. And you know what? When right this second, IGC is falling down. We're going to see NBEV take a little bit of a hit as that happens. But at the same time, there's so much more room above that NBEV has that right now IGC needs to fulfill first, and then NBEV we can see it go on its way. So let's talk about basically the only other thing that I have is PTIE. Now PTIE, and I like it even better now, and I wasn't looking, so I'm not even sure what the prints at 2 are as we're speaking. But we have buying at 2. We have new buying that's coming in at that 2 level. You can see right here, beautiful buying. This thing is on a tear. And my notes that I had before we even started our meeting was this consolidation. If we put horizontal lines right there. Just I want to show you exactly what I mean. So horizontal lines. And we look at this right here. We know it's holding in this consolidation. When a stock goes up, especially a cheap stock that goes up like this, and it holds within the consolidation on no volume. I mean, I can put so many arrows in here that it's going to show you exactly. I mean, it's just extremely sporadic. When a stock does something like that and there's no volume that's actually holding it up, and we see the volume and we see it still holding, and then we see volume start coming in, that is one of the greatest indications that we can have on a volume pattern that shows us the stock is going to continue. And you know what? It's doing it right this second. Now, those prints that we have at 2, they're going to have to pull back from, and I'm not even sure if they did at first, because if we come back down here, I mean, we're talking about 5 cents. It came back under, and you know what? You have to manage these stocks in 5 and 10 cent increments. But at the same time, I mean, it just shows the stock has to pop up. So I wish I would have said this before it ended up happening. I wasn't, to be God honest truth, was not watching as it was going there. But that's a beautiful pattern that we see coming in. So let's talk about one other thing, and that's the only other thing that I'm actually really paying much attention to is AMD. So AMD right now, we had this huge move to the downside. We have huge selling that's down here, but there's still prints at 30.50. So this is a perfect example of, even though I know that the stock wants to come down a little bit more than it has, it's still showing us that there's money up above that's going to make their money. And we've seen buying as we came back down towards that 27 level. Even though there's more selling than buying, the stock still wants to come back towards where that buying is. Okay, overall, do I think the AMD is going up above 35 anytime soon? No, I don't. And we talked about this yesterday. At 30, there's way, way, way too much selling that came into it. Has it been satisfied? Yeah, the selling at 30 has been satisfied, but the selling on the way back down has not. But also, the first people to the table at 30.50 are showing us that they do want the stock to come back up. So don't be fooled on a movement towards that upside. Very nice. Okay, yes, about 30 prints. Yep. So as we saw, I mean, it's a beautiful move. Now, anything else out there that I missed? I went through our scanners. Our scanners look like crap. Our afternoons have not been, have not really given us much. Oh, let's talk about SFIX though. SFIX is a monster. It's shown us so much as it's come down. It's literally just given us the keys to the castle. I mean, that's essentially what it's done. It's just over and over and over again. We've got great prints. Right now, it just triggered down, towards those prints coming at that 28 level. It's been a beautiful trade, and I wouldn't look away because it just keeps giving us perfect information. Okay, there's tons of stocks that move $5, $10, $15, $20 that don't give us anything. SFIX has given us almost something at every single level. So let's not take our eyes off of that beautiful trade coming in this morning. VTGN is ugly, but might want to spark out of consolidation. Let's take a look. All right, so VTGN. TGN. I can't disagree with you, Vince. You know what? It's the same situation. If we come over here and we take our horizontal lines, and this is how simple I am within my trading. But if we hold right here, this is the top of the consolidation. This is the bottom of the consolidation. It's very, very simple. Okay, somewhere right in that area. So it's sitting there, and look if we put once again, and we just put arrows down in every part where there's absolutely no volume, it's doing the same type of deal. So Vince, that's excuse me, sorry Vince, Steve, perfect, absolutely perfect. It's something we certainly should watch, even though right now, we're trading 35,000 shares a minute, which is fine. Okay, because a stock like this, what's going to happen is that once we end up seeing it start to move, it's just going to pop out of nowhere. Yeah, no, I saw. But yes, 100%. It's certainly something I'll watch. Now, is it going to be able to get over 250 today? We could see our high is 244. We ended up coming back down. I don't know. I have no idea. But at the same time, it's something, if we get a trigger to break us up above where the top of that consolidation is, and the top of the consolidation starts from where this morning was, it's a great pattern to show us that it has the variables to be able to actually move. And that's what we're looking for. Our afternoons have been very, very slow. There's not much out there. But at the same time, just the same thing as PTIE, this perfect example, Steve. I mean, just a great call. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Anything else out there that we have? Nothing. All right. So once again, it's the afternoon time. We had plenty of money to make this morning. There's nothing to focus, and there's nothing to force is the better word for it. Nothing to force coming into the afternoon unless we get that trigger that comes in. And we have a few things that really are showing us the possibilities of it. All right, everyone. So I will talk to you all in the closing bell meeting, and happy trading.